waiting to get the confirmation that we're live. Hope you can all hear me. But yes, we're live. So, welcome to another episode of Zoom In on the 2020 US presidential elections. My name is David Martinez. I'm an American journalist and communications consultant based in Milan, Italy, for the last 30 or so years, and the founder of Global Focus. So we're focusing on America, not just the globe, but this time America. Let's see, I want to apologize for missing our appointment last week. I was prepared, however, I was traveling and I had some problems connecting my webcam with Facebook. And so my apologies. We'll try not to let that happen again. In any case, with just twice as much news. 2 weeks, and things are beginning to get a little more intense for the Donald and probably everybody, since we're all waiting to see what Donald Trump will do with this election cycle, both in terms of his communications program and in terms of his accepting the results of the election, if he in fact loses the election, which currently seems to be possible, if not probable, but at least possible. And he did, in fact, conduct he was interviewed on Fox Network, which is his favorite news station or channel. However, by his least favorite television personality, Chris Wallace. And in fact, the interview did not go very well, but most specifically when the journalist asked him whether he would respect the results of the election, Trump refused to commit himself to respecting an American election results. This is in fact one of the reasons we have begun to organize this weekly summary of events, because it's unclear, or now it is clear, that in fact that Trump does not want to commit himself to responding or accepting the results of the election. He didn't say he wouldn't accept them, but he refused to say that he would. So, so that's basically, a clear answer. Generally, we speak a lot about Trump on this because week after week he seems to dominate the news cycle as he did in 2016. It's a strategy that worked for electing him 4 years ago, and nobody seems to be better at keeping the attention on themselves than Donald Trump. So, however, this week I'd like to start with his rival, Joe Biden, or maybe briefly, because there are, I think, technically, there are more than 1,000 registered candidates for the presidency. However, you will not hear of most of those people. Perhaps you did hear about Kanye West, who had decided that he was going to form a new political party and run on his own personal platform. The party didn't exist before he founded it. It's called the Birthday Party, which basically, I don't want to underestimate the Kanye West's Twitter followers or his Facebook followers or or his popularity in general. However, he will have a very difficult time actually meeting the bureaucratic rules and regulations for conducting and being taken seriously as a presidential candidate. Probably two other parties, the Libertarian Party and the Green Party in the United States, will get somewhere in the order of 1 or 2% of the votes. These obviously 1 or 2% of the votes will not make them kingmakers, also because that's not how the American election system works. But they'll certainly get more votes than Kanye West and the other 1,000 candidates that somewhere, maybe on some ballots somewhere in the United States, or maybe they've decided that this is a fantastic opportunity to promote themselves in a political context. Maybe I should do this too. Next time, not this time around. Anyway, stay tuned, you never know. Anyways, getting back to Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee for the presidency in 2020. There have been some developments. Basically, he has not been extremely visible, not nearly as visible as Trump. He's basically letting Trump dictate the news cycle. However, Trump is not doing that very effectively every time. He has his strategy of ignoring the coronavirus has not worked well so far. However, as I say, Biden still is in the news. He has, for example, said that he's going to nominate a woman for vice president, and that's something to consider. I personally have already made my prediction on who that will be. I think I did that 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it's going to be the former National Security Council advisor to Barack Obama, Susan Rice. Susan Rice was the National Security Advisor for Obama for 3 or 4 years, and then she also held the position of ambassador to the United Nations. She certainly has the skills to lead the country in the event that Biden, 78-year-old candidate, only lasts 1 term, or in fact doesn't last his entire term. I think that's going to be a major consideration, more than their political orientation. I don't think Biden's going to go too far to the right or to the left. I think what he needs to do is find a capable woman of being president of the United States immediately upon being called to do so. So, in my opinion, that seems to be Susan Rice. She wasn't really in the original mix, but I still think that she represents one of the most skilled and professional women on a national political level. So, how's he going to get to that point? And when will he nominate this woman? I suspect that the nomination will come during the Democratic National Convention, or just before it. That is to say, the Democratic National Convention, as the Republican National Convention, usually are these enormous events with 50,000 political animals swirling around the arena for the coronation of the latest candidate. That's not going to happen with COVID. The latest talk is that the Democratic Convention may host as many as 300 people. And the Republicans, it's quite unclear how many people will actually go and where they will go, because they originally were supposed to go to North Carolina, but now they're going to Florida. But who knows if they'll go anywhere. The coronavirus obviously is continuing to devastate the United States. They have not gotten a handle on it. Trump has basically ignored it and continues to say that it's just going to disappear. It hasn't been a very effective strategy, but since he's changing strategies about once a month, he still has 4 more months to go, and he can find 4 more strategies, I suppose. So a little unusual. He was much clearer 4 years ago on his messaging, but still, Donald Trump is a new type of politician. And in fact, he basically sees himself as still being an outsider. He's most candidates that are president run on their achievements, on what they've managed to accomplish over the course of the last 4 years. However, Trump does not talk about himself as someone that has done things, but as someone that will do things because he's not part of the establishment. At the same time, his latest strategy, starting this in July, has been to depict Biden as being first senile, which, these are 2 old white men, so no one is going to win a prize for being the sharpest tack in the room. But in any case, first he accused Biden of being senile, and that now he seems to have established that Biden will be a puppet for the radical left, and that he has sold his soul to Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren and the left wing, the radical wing of the Democratic Party. Doesn't seem to be going over very well. However, since the economy has stalled because of the COVID virus, and the attempts to reopen the economy have only reopened the virus, this is Trump's current strategy. He seems to have put his re-election over the health of the nation, and to put it succinctly, he has decided that the virus is not an issue. Just vote for me because I know what I'm doing, and my opponent is a puppet of the radical left in America. I'm laughing a little because if there is a radical left in America, we still are waiting to see it. We have not seen a radical left in America since maybe Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Was about the closest America has ever gotten to a radical left. Anyway, let's see. One of the things that Biden has achieved in these last few months is that he has reduced the deficit between his war chest, that is the money he's accumulated to pay for these next 4 months of campaigning, given that in fact the COVID virus has restructured the idea of large venues, indoor venues, even outdoor venues with large numbers of people. The budgets for television advertising will be astronomical. Trump was comfortably ahead in the campaign financing. He had 4 years to understanding that he would be again the candidate for the Republicans, to amass $295 million as of the end of June. Of course, he's probably already spent some of that, or some money, but he had cash on hand, $295 million at the end of June. Biden had recently been as much as $100 million behind him. However, he has moved up, and now he's only approximately $50 million behind Trump. He's closed the gap by about $100 million in the last 3 months. Speaking of money, Biden came out with 2 economic proposals for his platform, his policies when he's president. One, which seemed like a lot of money, was a $700 billion program to revive manufacturing in the United States. That presumably means taking it out and away from China and the third world factory countries and returning it to the US. And at the same time, reducing inequality in the workplace. I think that means basically Black Lives Matter and women. In any case, $700 billion project over 4 years was his proposal. He came out shortly thereafter with an even bigger proposal, a $2 trillion clean energy infrastructure program. That is transforming American energy into clean energy, and therefore, I suppose that means reducing the petroleum, coal, and fossil fuel industry, which some Americans will not like as a proposal. When Biden began speaking about these programs, Trump decided that he should have a program too. And in fact, while he was being interviewed on Fox News, he said that he will soon, in the next 2 weeks, pass a healthcare program for the United States, since one of his signature issues was destroying Obamacare, Obama's Affordable Care Act, which was the first time that there was something very similar to public health insurance in the United States, and which has, to some extent, saved a lot of people the costs of COVID testing and hospitalization. Although not everybody, some people are paying wildly differentiating prices from one test to another, or from the hospitalization in one, based on the different private insurance policies that they have. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to say about the infrastructure. Yes, Trump also said that he wanted to rebuild America, having made it culturally great in his last 4 years. Now he's more concerned with actually making it infrastructurally great, I suppose. And so he has a plan to reinvest in repairing the decaying bridges, highways, ports, trains, etc., etc., the infrastructure, maybe electrical grid, etc., of the United States, but not by investing money, by weakening environmental protection laws. He is trying to overturn environmental protection policies that were put in place 50 years ago under a Republican president, Richard Nixon. In any case, it's an easier way rather than invest in clean air and water, and while you're improving your highways and electrical grid and whatnot, you can also destroy the environment. This makes it easier to actually build things. So that's his program for improving the American infrastructure. This is a relatively new idea that's just kind of, perhaps it just popped up while he was being interviewed on Fox News, because no one had heard of any of these programs previous to his interview. What they had heard about was that after banning immigrants in April and reopening the economy in May, and indicating that the Black Lives Matter protesters were criminals and not exercising freedom of speech. Now he has also established a law and order platform or policy. He's going to, keep America safe. Unfortunately, as he announced that, he also pardoned Roger Stone. Roger Stone was convicted of misleading the Congress in their impeachment trial, and was convicted of protecting Trump regarding his contacts during the and requests to Russia to help him during the 2016 elections. Trump pardon, a presidential pardon basically eliminates the crime, and the person gets out of jail free. And no president has to date had used that presidential privilege, the pardon, to pardon someone that had actually protected them directly. Because what Roger Stone did not tell the Congress was what he did, the illegal activities that he and Trump were involved in asking for and receiving help from Russia. So this did not go over very well either with the general electorate. Even his White House advisors advised Trump not to pardon Roger Stone. However, he did pardon him. Little aside. Roger Stone and I know each other since high school. Yes, I went to high school with Roger Stone, and well, let's just say I was looking forward to his finally going to prison. Maybe if anyone's interested, you can write me an email formazione@globalfocus.it, and I'll explain, our early disagreements. This was a long time ago, but they're freshly stamped in my memory. In any case, even Republicans objected to what one Republican, the previous Republican candidate for the presidency, Mitt Romney, called an unprecedented historic corruption. So, and the special counselor that was in charge of the investigation of the Russian interference in the 2016 elections, reiterated that Roger Stone was convicted of federal crimes, and he is, to all effects, a convict, and that he was basically protecting Trump. And so this pardon has not gone over well politically. In any case, Trump mows through these problems with the greatest of ease, and he's on to new battles. Confederate Civil War heroes, for example. He believes that the Confederate flag and the military heroes of the Civil War, the Confederate Civil War heroes, should continue to be honored. Black Lives Matter notwithstanding, or racist history notwithstanding, or just having lost the war, it doesn't seem to be a problem. Anyway, currently these different positions that Trump has staked out are leading Republicans to wonder if, in fact, they're going to have problems not just holding the presidency, which they're now currently, as we say, Trump is losing by double digits. That's by more than 10 points in nationally and in key swing states where Biden is not considered a puppet of the radical left. This anxiety is translating also into potentially losing the Senate, which currently is in Republican hands, and which allows them to keep the Democrats, if the Democrats win, in control to some extent, and specifically also because some major Republican politicians are up for re-election this year. Specifically Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader for the Republican Party in the Senate, and he is contending for the seat with a woman who was the first Marine fighter pilot in the Marine history. So there's some potential that actually he may lose his seat in the Senate. Still to be seen, of course. Also, Lindsey Graham from South Carolina is not so famous. He's a congressman in the House of Representatives, but he's the head of the judiciary, or that is for the opposition, since the Democrats control the committees in the House. Last question for this week. What's Mike Pence doing? He seems to be every Republican governor's friend right now. He's the go-to guy for Republican governors who need masks, who need ventilators, who need federal funding for the COVID crisis. They don't go to Trump, they go to Mike Pence, his vice president. And so Mike Pence has a lot of new friends. This will probably just consolidate his being renominated as Trump's vice president. Usually that's a given, but with Trump, we never know. And because recently it seemed like Trump was a little disappointed with Mike. And since Biden is going to nominate a woman as vice president, maybe he would too. But will he? Well, there is a woman that has a similar experience to Susan Rice. That is to say, she was the ambassador to the United Nations for Trump and actually left the Trump administration without writing a book or without being fired by Trump. That's Nikki Haley, who was also the governor of South Carolina before she was nominated as the ambassador to the United Nations. So she actually is her family were from Punjab. They were Sikh, that is to say, their religious affiliation was Sikh, and so it would be quite an innovative change for the Trump administration. However, right now it seems that it would be risky to write off Mike Pence. Mike Pence is basically the connection between Trump and his revolving moral compass and the evangelical voters who apparently form one of Trump's most solid bases. So it would be a little unlikely to replace Trump because that might upset his base. In any case, that's about all the time we have today. We're going to have one more appointment next Monday, the 27th, 9 o'clock, right here, Facebook Live. And before taking a short break, 2 weeks, and staying here in Italy, not leaving, COVID virus, stay safe. But we'll be back on the next week, the 27th of July, and then again we'll pick up again on the 17th of August, just as the Democratic National Convention, or what seems to be a virtual convention, starts in Milwaukee. So, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. We're here, formazione@globalfocus.it. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you, love to hear what you're thinking. And I think things are going to heat up more and more as we get closer and closer to the 3rd of November and the elections. In any case, we are going to continue on to the 30th of November just to see how Trump reacts. Okay? So, see you soon. Stay safe.